All right, well, let's begin. I call this special meeting of the Silver Falls School District Board with executive session to order. And since we are conducting interviews for the superintendency opening, ORS 192.6602A applies to consider employment of a public officer, employee, or staff member or individual agent.
Session. Okay, and the only other agenda item for tonight is contract parameters, and we sort of talked about those last night. Does anybody have any specific items that you wanted to discuss tonight?
Oh, I had a question. Under number 2, duties and responsibilities, and we may have discussed this when we revised this contract for our interim. But in the second paragraph, it says, the board collectively and individually through their directors shall promptly refer all criticism, complaints, and suggestions called to its attention to the superintendent for study and recommendation. And I'm wondering why that's in a contract. It's one of our policies. Did I lose you guys? Are you still there? You're still there.
No, yeah, that's a good question.
I know it's in our policy and it's part of our working agreement and all that, which is good. That's appropriate. I don't disagree with the spirit of the statement. It just seems strange to me in a contract. So I don't know if that's standard language. I mean, it does go on to say what the superintendent has a right to attend board meetings, accept executive sessions, and will serve as an ex officio member of all board committees. That seems relevant because it speaks to what some of the other responsibilities of the job are in terms of serving on those committees. But that sentence, and we don't have to resolve it tonight, but I did wonder why it was in there.
Sarah, do you have any background? I mean, it does feel like something that could be in a working agreement rather than a contract. Is there anything, or could you maybe take an action item to follow up with your peers on it?
Yeah, so what I would ultimately recommend is during your legal review with your district attorney, you ask them if it needs to be in there for something that can be taken out. I'd be happy to definitely follow up with my colleagues as well. But ultimately, since I'm not a lawyer and OSBA tends not to give advice necessarily on superintendent contracts, I still would want you to follow up, but I can look into it further, and hopefully by tomorrow night I'll have at least an idea for you guys. So Janet, I don't have a copy of the contract, so if you could just email me that statement, sure. I can follow up tomorrow.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, thanks, Janet. That's a good question.
Sure.
Does anyone else have any contract-related questions, comments, concerns?
I'll probably have more questions and concerns tomorrow when we're making some final decisions or talking at the end. I'm still processing the information from last night about the terms of employment, you know, the 3-year versus the 2-year and such. So I'll probably have more questions tomorrow. So sure. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. And tomorrow, my understanding is that Greg and Steve are both going to be on the line. And so, you know, they may bring different perspectives as well that can contribute to your conversation. So I think that might be helpful for you guys. And Steve, having been a former superintendent, also has that different, aspects. So as a reminder, tomorrow we're going to meet at the normal time of 4:30. We'll, go over interview organization and internet check debriefs. And then we'll have our 2 interviews. We'll get the screening committee feedback. And then we're going to jump into deliberating, and you guys are going to identify who you want to continue in the process. And just as a reminder, because we will be in executive session, you won't be making any decisions, you won't be making any votes. You're just going to look at how the candidates line up now. So we are going to cover quite a lot tomorrow, and it will likely be a late night. And of course, we'll do our best to get through everything in a timely manner, but I do want you guys to be prepared that it may go a little long. And we'll take as many breaks as we need and all of that.
Okay.
All right, any questions? Thanks, Shelly. All right,
Thank
well,
All right.
I think we're
Well,
good.
without anything else, I think we can adjourn tonight's meeting. See y'all tomorrow.